for 8 years now, and we've got a really amazing panel. So we'll just finish up getting the stage together. But would you like to come onto stage, Akshay, Arjit, Parthiv, Pooja, Ritesh, Gopi, and Ashwani, please. Can you all come onto stage? Is okay? All right. So over to you, Akshay. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. This is my brother.
More questions for the premium seat folks.
I'm sure. The burning ones.
Launch our first agent. AI agents are AI systems that can do work for you independently. You give them a task, and they go off and do it. We think this is going to be a big trend in AI and really impact the work people can do, how productive they can be, how creative they can be, what they can accomplish. We're starting today with Operator. Operator is a system that can use a web browser, in this case a web browser in the cloud, to accomplish tasks that you give it. And we'll show you a demo in just a second, but it's really quite cool what it can do. Just like you would use a web browser, you can get pixels in, you can look at a screen and control, an operator can do that and then control the keyboard and the mouse and do all sorts of things. This is going to go live today in the United States for pro users, and it'll be other countries soon. Europe will unfortunately take a while, and we'll also in the coming months make it available to plus users. This is an early research preview. We've got a lot of improvements to do. We'll make it better, we'll make it cheaper, we'll make it more widely available, but we really want to put it in people's hands. We'll also have more agents to launch in the coming weeks and months, but that said, we'll talk more later. So excited, just want to show you a demo. I'll hand it over to Yash.
Right, thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
We're going to launch our first agent.
Yeah. Am I audible? Awesome. Firstly, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for your time today. I hope you're having a good day with some insightful and masala conversation that we had so far. Let me set some expectations. We probably not good in dancing as Prashant and Tina, so please bear with us, but I think we are interesting enough to discuss generative AI. So, all right, for all of those who don't probably follow generative AI or artificial intelligence in general, let me tell you something, that it is not future, it is present, and we use in tech, I'm sure some of them you already using in science as well. But to know more, please stick with me for next 45 minutes straight, and I, along with my fellow panelists, will discuss about it and we'll get to know different perspectives from them. So with that, we'd like to start. If each one of you could kindly introduce yourself and let us know your basic fundamental understanding of large language models and vertical AI agents in most fundamental and basic ways so that our audience can relate with that. We'll start with you, Gopi, if we can. Here's the mic.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Such a pleasure to be amongst all of you, the house full. Thank you, Prashant. I'm Gopi Trivedi. I'm senior partner and IP lawyer at YG Trivedi & Company, where we discuss intellectual property rights, patent, trademark, copyright, and design. So these are our core pillars. Now, hailing from a technical background, I'm a computer engineer who chose to be a lawyer. And then when this, the introduction of artificial intelligence and their tools and their intervention all around, we are feeling quite exciting. I will look at from the point of view of law and the legal framework, the two ways which, I would feel it or I would kind of, depict it. One, as a user. So as a user of legal framework, AI tools are helping us enormously. LLMs are helping us enormously in patent searches, in technical analysis. So yes, we are those users at one end, not only attorneys like us, even the offices, the government offices, nationally and internationally are deploying all these tools with full hearts. But then when it comes to its protection, again, intellectual property right protection, that is patent, copyright, trademark, design, and few other elements, there comes a challenge or a poise. The poise is who who is the author, who is the owner, who is the inventor. So when all these questions are clearly answered, then only its filing and protection can take its place. This is something from my side.
Thank you, Gopi.
Thank you.
Parthiv, over to you.
Sure. Yeah, I am Parthiv, co-founder and CEO of Petpooja. We are the largest SMB SaaS play currently in India. When I say largest, and I'll give you the brief, we handle almost 57 to 58 lakhs orders a day, right? That's how large we are. And this is probably after, GST portal or IRCTC, right? So we are probably the third largest platform who is handling so many orders currently in India, right? So that's where we are. To give you a brief understanding of LLM agent framework actually, and we have been dabbling with a lot of this, before LLM there was supposed to be a CNN architecture, which is like convoluted neural networks and stuff like that. So we have been spending a lot of time on those things. Almost 6-7 years now actually. See, so brief history, LLM typically started with the chat prompts, right? Typically so it has a basic understanding of, contextually understanding those chat prompts, answering to you actually. That's how it started. Then came in multiple inputs, right? Which means you can actually give images also as an input or voice as an input actually. And it gives you same contextual understanding out of those inputs too, right? That became a second component, which I think it started, that multimodal LLMs started from September 2023 or somewhere, right? That became a major turning point. Essentially, you are now saying that it started understanding every form of input, right? And the third one, when it reached a certain level of understanding, which meant now it will be able to do your work typically which you were doing, right? So that became an agent framework. This is actually how the whole journey is of LLM to agent, right? And this is how every part of the automation is actually working out, right? Even if you look at the self-driving cars, it is similar. Somebody is going to drive car for you, right? So that's actually how the whole journey is here, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Parthiv. Pooja, over to you.
So I'm Pooja Khemka. I'm CEO and co-founder of trackNOW. I'm mother of 2 lovely kids. So for me, my journey was the pain point which me and my husband faced of not picking up our son from the bus stop. So that's where we started our first product back in 2016, My School Bus, which is currently running in 600 plus schools pan India. And then during COVID, we pivoted our solution to top logistic company. So it's entirely a SaaS-based solution, which we are providing to top logistic providers and top corporates. I'm a chartered accountant, and this journey was a journey from the problem statement that we faced. And we have been funded by the Poonawalla group. So the journey is solid. I mean, lot of ups and downs, but then finally we are scaling a lot. And talking about AI, we are also incubated and accelerated by Google. So to rightly understand, I think AI is used when you have data. Unless and until you have data, you cannot work on the analytics. Say if you are working on 1 lakh vehicle, we should have numerous data to collect that analysis and give the AI tool. As Parthiv rightly said, that data which you are running through years can be automated through AI. So we have to decide at what time we have to convert that data and analytics into the AI tool. Thank you.
Thanks, Pooja. Arjit, over to you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Arjit. I run a fund called Mass Short Ventures, which is a fund set up by the Razorpay founders to invest in early stage companies. Out of the 110 companies, we have a significant portfolio in generative AI. Proud to say that we've invested in generative AI even before the term was coined, and one of our companies were acquired by Adobe, but we've gone and invested in a bunch of companies with applications in software engineering, legal tech, media and entertainment, enterprise automation. I think Parthiv Bhai covered a lot of what generative AI is, but just for the benefit of the panel, can I know a little bit about the audience? So I'm going to ask 3 or 4 questions. Please raise your hand if you've used ChatGPT ever. Okay. Please raise your hand if you've used ChatGPT or any other generative AI platform for professional work. Wow, that's a good audience.
You are with right audience.
Yeah?
You are with right audience.
Yeah. And please raise your hand if you've used any generative AI tool for personal advice. Oh, very cool, very cool. So we are in good hands, yeah, in terms of audience.
Thanks, Arjit. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashwani Rawat. I'm the co-founder of produktiv.ai. It's a fairly new company, but before that, I was a co-founder of a company called trackNOW. I ran that company for almost 10 years before it got acquired by an American giant in the space of location intelligence in 2023. I've been working in AI from last 7-8 years now. My background is I'm an engineer by degree. And I've been developing AI, fundamental technologies in AI since quite long now. When it comes to LLM, it's an exciting piece of technology. The way I define it is slightly different from the bookish knowledge. I call them knowledge reservoirs. It has a lot of knowledge in it, and sometimes, you ask question, it'll answer you from whatever it has seen in the past. But it does have its own challenges. It can hallucinate as well because it is forced to give you answer. Even if it doesn't know, it'll try to produce you some answer. So you can say it's like a stochastic parrot, right? Like tota hai, sab kuch rat liya hai, right? But the only problem is each answer is probabilistic in nature. It is not deterministic. Means it will predict a word with certain probability and then going to predict the next word till it reaches the end of the sentence. So it does not guarantee you the right output, but most of the time the output is correct, right? Now with this kind of a functionality available with us, people are trying to create agentic frameworks or agents to automate various tasks, because one thing which LLM have proved is that they could break down a task very, very nicely. Or most of the generic tasks can be broken down by LLMs in a small steps, and then you can create a computer program to execute those tasks by calling, let's say, certain APIs or certain functions to automate a workflow in any organization. Now people are also experimenting with multi-agent LLMs. Means there'll be a program which would have a collaboration with a specialized LLM, and this entire workflow of one agent could interact with other agent and can reason with each other, can negotiate also with each other, can also basically take advice from each other and do some sort of a verification as well to complete a complex task. So I guess we are in an era where probably this is not going to happen in our lifetime again. And we are just right at the beginning of that era where we would see the birth of true AI probably in time to come.
Thanks, Ashwani. Ritesh?
Yeah. Good afternoon, all. I'm Ritesh, and I have over 20 years of experience developing product. I first dabbled with AI in 2001, when I think the most commercially viable AI was the Clippy on Microsoft Word or Excel. In fact, that's the time when I got really excited how it is able to understand what we are doing and how it is able to try to help us. So over the years, at that time, the AI was only available mostly through research and through military operations. So eventually, I ended up working for Cisco developing their iOS. Then I eventually moved to Microsoft making games across their platforms. And then I co-founded 2 companies. The most recent one was Pedagogy, which was acquired by Vedantu. And there's Eventage, which is still live, and a lot of Fortune 100 companies still use our platform to manage their events. For me, LLM, we have, in fact, even before LLM, we have used native models to solve a lot of problems. So if I take a very quick example in pedagogy, the challenge we tried to solve was there are question papers available throughout, different exams. How do we pick those question papers and make it usable to end students? We had a row of 4 different models that we natively made. One which would identify the question from using OCRs and other technologies. Another which would segregate it based on whether it's an 11th grade or a 12th grade. The third one would segregating it across whether it's a physics, chemistry, maths, so on and so forth. And the last one doing how difficult the question would be for an average student. Now it took us almost 18 months. With LLM and now with multi-agent LLMs available, I would say if I have to do it again, I would give my team 2 months. So that's an impact, or that's an advantage we are having right now with LLM. Most recently, I'm working with HFN, which is an agri-tech, and we are trying to solve some of the toughest problems that farmers in India face. Our aim is to increase the income for farmers as well as go towards the sustainability of farming and towards food security. Happy to answer any questions on LLM.
Thank you, Ritesh. And I can relate to your point regarding the efficiency, but I'll come on to that in a minute. But thank you so much all for coming in and joining. So I'll start with Arjit. As you are managing the venture fund and investment, are you seeing any inclination towards startup founders going towards vertical AI agents compared to SaaS traditional softwares? And if so, if there is any particular sector?
Sure. So generative AI is relatively new in terms of popularity.
True.
And when you talk about what's happened, I'll talk about 2 things. One is companies in our portfolio that started adopting generative AI, and maybe talk about how the companies that we evaluate, how have they changed their approach. So we've had a few companies in our portfolio, and maybe I can take names and give you examples as well. So there used to be a company called Mugafi, which used to help people like us understand how can we become better story writers, how can we become better music composers, and then meet like-minded people and create a script together, create a song together, and then they would help you monetize it, etc. With generative AI, what they've done is they've actually created a platform that helps script writers in creating not just scripts, but scenarios, as well as character development, which is like in, let's say somebody who created Pokemon had to go through a lot of effort to create all the Pokemon characters and their specifications. This particular platform can do it in minutes instead of years, right? So you can have an equivalent of a Marvel universe just like that. And they've been able to work with some of the top, let's say, production houses in the Bollywood, Tollywood, as well as global space as well, to help them crash down this time of character development. Yes, the character development or the story writing is something which where you have a little bit of advantage with generative AI, because you're able to do at least that 0 to 1 journey very quickly, but going down into those characters specifically and giving them a little bit of that human nuance is something that only somebody who's very good at story writing can do. So that's one company that did it. The other company was a company called Contlo. They used to help, they still help a lot of D2C founders figuring out their marketing stack. What they used to do before generative AI is helping you understand which customer to catch on what platform and what is the message that you should give. And they created a little bit of a generative AI tool internally, which was interfaced by customers through their platform. Once generative AI happened, they actually launched this as Super AGI, as a platform that companies can use to sort of create autonomous agents to take care of a lot of tasks. And because of that, they went on to raise massive money, shifted their base to the US, and now are sort of disrupting, or probably one of the front runners from India in the generative AI space. So that's what has happened in my portfolio. Now, talking about what are the companies that are coming to us looking like, they've actually figured out specific niches within a particular sector. So while I have a company which is helping lawyers create their first drafts very quickly, to the extent that they just have to, review and, taking a lot of load away from the paralegals who actually spend countless number of hours just creating the first or the second draft. in the software development realm, we now have companies that are not just enabling software engineers to create their first versions of the code, but you also have, another company that helps you test or debug the code. And then there's a third company that helps you figure out security aspects before that code gets deployed. So essentially what's happening is that a lot of tasks that took a lot of time and was monotonous can be automated through generative AI and agents. And I'm not even getting started on the entire agent, the ability of the agents to automate a lot of things within the company. I'm just talking about just creation. All this while I'm just talking about creation from grounds up. And how do you find faults in that creation so that once this creation is deployed, be it a movie story, be it a software that is going to scale to all of India, etc., so that it is a little bit more robust and it becomes cost effective. So if you don't have to fix a particular series of code after deployment, it saves a lot of cost as well, right? So
Sure.
This is like just very cursory examples of what has happened in the startup realm within India. These are all Indian startups that I'm talking about.
Understood. So in short, marketing team and tech team needs to be on their toes to save their job. We understood. Thanks, Arjit. We'll go to Parthiv now. I see a lot of use case this being applied in, let's say, optimizing workflows in general, vertical AI agents. But according to you, you being co-founder of a product-based company, what is the use case, how you can leverage vertical AI agents or combination of LLMs in your workflow, so to speak?
So fundamentally, one major thing actually, right? Why do you need multiple agents? I mean, ideally, one large model should be able to help you out, right? Typically, if you actually look at, and we are deploying a lot of these tools, including training, fine-tuning, LoRa fine-tuning, almost every technique we have kind of gone through it actually. We have kind of, so one thing when somebody says we are doing generative AI or AI actually, first thing we ask is how large is your ops team, right? Somebody has to tag the data, which is really, really massive requirement, yeah. So coming to the question now, any large model you pick up, right? Their accuracy, that's the first problem is accuracy. You want to actually take away task from somebody, you need to actually beat that human accuracy. Even if my accuracy as a human level, probably 90% or 85%, right? I still need to beat that. So what happens is when you actually take a generalized models, they would do a decently good job, but they are not still the best accurate model, right?
Correct.
So you need to create, based on your application actually, you need to train or feed the data to make it more accurate, make sure that it works out really well.
Fine-tune them.
Yeah, I mean, so we have, and the way, let's say I would take an example of accounting, which is the easiest thing. You want to do inverting in accounting, right? You use, and we use Quen, by the way, open source model, right? So we actually, we trained it correctly. Now it takes the photo, it converts it into complete digital this thing. Then you use one more model, typical basic LLM, to actually do a tagging between this data and your accounting data. And then also you use DeepSeek, probably V3, to create build an agent, accounting agent, right? So this is like complete stuff, right? Because every model has a specialty. Every model, and most of these models are not at the same level of accuracy, right? Which means you want to actually figure out a use case, then they would do their task. You would then plug in another model, which is how these agents are going to be, right? Nobody, at least not in near future, we don't see single model generating or probably reaching to an accuracy level of probably 95% plus in every of the tasks. That's not going to happen. I don't think it is that easy also, at least at this stage. You would actually see pace of innovation probably slightly slowing down in next 2 years, but pace of application is going to go up because now actually you will see real usage coming in, right? So that's actually how it is going to play out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Parthiv. And for those who don't know, DeepSeek, it's a Chinese competitor of OpenAI. It's very cheap compared to the OpenAI pricing, so people have started adopting it. The accuracy is still under consideration, but anyway, this is a good use case. Thanks, Parthiv.
Yeah, one more thing, actually, there are a lot of Chinese open source model, by the way. Right? It is not just US guys who are building those models. Chinese are actually doing much better job.
Thanks, Parthiv. I'll come to Kopi, and so whenever I build software or work with collaborators, or we build our own products with generative AI, or let's say large language models, I often get asked this question, or I myself also have this question that, can fine-tuned generative AI model patented? Can we patent it? Because just to give you the context, we work in life science domain, right? It's very IP-driven thing. And let's say we build something of our own, where we feed our own novel data of drugs, let's say. Can we patent that?
Okay. So I'll break down your question that fine-tune AI applications.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can fine-tuned AI application be patented? This is the question. So from the viewpoint of Indian Patent Act, fine-tuning means either upgrading or optimizing, right? So if it is upgrading or innovating, yes, it becomes a patentable subject matter. But if you are optimizing, that means you have a range, but you are coming to the right value. Optimization is not patentable.
Okay.
So we'll now just focus on to innovating or upgrading. And it is often referred to as incremental patent. And yes, incremental innovations are patented. So one question I think is answered. Coming to life sciences and at the same time the tech side. You know, now, even in my last 5+ years, I've seen more interdisciplinary patents than ever. So every problem is now being tried to be solved by the tech, right? So there is a combination. And there is a major role by the tech side, no matter what the application is. So I met an orthopedic doctor who tried to solve a knee surgery as a pre-operative solution through AI. It wasn't ever imagined, right? So the problem was the physical human body with the knee as the core part, but the solution is from the AI. Is it patentable, or this can be patented? Answer is yes. Why and how? The Indian Patent Act sees everything as what is the problem, what is the solution, and how have you reached there.
Understood.
Okay, so here the problem is something which is tangible, you can feel it. How you are trying to solve? Are you trying to solve it through computer program application? Then there are guidelines and there are exclusions also which says no, it can't be patentable. But not going much into technicalities, if you can provide enhanced efficacy, that means whatever you have been doing in a particular way and you have a bigger delta, I mean visible delta, that this solution, the current solution is really working well, yes, it can be patentable. And with this note, I'm very glad to share that even from my desk or my office, we have been filing multiple number of AI or software or AI-driven patent application till its grant, not only in India and elsewhere in the world. And Indian Patent Office has been granting. So last data is 1,000+ patents have been granted. So it's a positive sign, but every case has to be, kind of discussed and decided.
Validated. Yeah.
Yes, so I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we know who's the go-to person if we need to patent something. All right. So we'll go to Pooja with that. You work in logistics department, right? So your venture is in that domain, and that requires a lot of trust and efficiency to operate. How do you see vertical AI agents or large language models reducing those gaps and inefficiencies in your domain?
So I really love this word trust, because that is what that builds a big business and an ongoing business. So for us, there are two verticals to our business. One is the school bus domain, wherein parents rely on us that their kids are safe moving on to the school bus. So being run by 400,000 parents using our system daily, managing the control room wherein even parents can call on our phone numbers early morning at 5. So the day we started and now, the numbers are huge. So we have tried to use the AI tool as much as possible to, as Parthiv rightly said, that how much less you can rely on the people or the agent and how well you can automate. So here we have tried to automate it entirely through the tools. The second thing is about the recent development which we have made in the face recognition and the camera, which could predict whether a child is fighting. So that's the scenario which proved to be a biggest challenge for the school admin and the transport managers. So we are able to build up that AI tools also to ensure that the kids inside the bus are also safe. So now talking about the other vertical, which is more into the daily movement of oil, atta, anything through the biggest logistic owners, we have tried to reduce the turnaround time using this analytics. Now you might be wondering how. So what we have done here, basically, we have used some sort of a tools to provide them route optimization. Say running 5,000 to 10,000 trucks daily by one fleet owner and defining the routes on which the trucks are moving was the biggest trouble. So we were able to optimize the route for them and help them to save the cost, right, and ensure that the vehicle goes on the right track. So this are all the use cases. The problem statement is still huge for the logistic owner, and there should be new startups who should come up and see how well we can utilize the data to the best and solve the problem, which is large enough. Also, to ensure that the deliveries are on time. Running big or working with Fortune 500 companies, we have now realized that they have system in place, but then they want to ensure that how they can save on first to their cost, second, how they can save the time, how soon they can deliver the goods. Looking into Swiggy, Zomato, which is into last mile, the B2B channel or the other delivery options also have to be very quick nowadays. That can also be done through using the latest technology which we have implemented in our system already. The third best part is the customer success. I mean, we have 98% of our client retained from the day we started. So how this is done is through automating the WhatsApp, which we have tried to the fullest. We were also avoided by WhatsApp small businesses for using this technology. So I think even for the young generation, there's lot many things which we can do to ensure that we are able to solve the problem through this analysis. Thank you.
Thanks, Pooja. Makes sense. I do have a couple of follow-up questions, but due to interest of time, we'll probably have that off the stage. But yeah, I will go to Ritesh, as you're also leading a department, and I'm also leading a tech company with Prashant and Sanal. So although we're a tech company, there's always a slight hiccup or a bit of resistance when you want to adopt some new technology tools or anything per se. So what challenges do you see in the adoption of those tools, technologies, especially AI tools, LLM models, vertical agents, in workforce, and how we can equip them with the latest tools so that they are efficient in the workflows?
So LLM and now the agent LLM, we are at a crossroad where obviously there is a huge opportunity, as all the panelists are mentioning. They become your dream team, a team which can go ahead and work 24/7, is always accurate, in most cases, I would say, not always. But there is a huge paradigm shift. What I feel is over the next year or two, a normal job or a normal knowledge-based job, there is going to be a significant reduction in the opportunities there. So what it does bring up for startups, for bigger corporations, is how do we make sure that the workforce is re-energized, to re-trained, so that they are ready for the world. So what I have seen is, obviously at my company, we have kind of made it mandatory for everyone to start using the tools. Whether it's a developer, they have to go through Copilot or any other preferred way to do it, and we have seen significant improvements. Obviously, this does bring in the cost aspect to it. one aspect that I really that challenges me is the ethical part. I think like we are using LLMs, we are using knowledge which is created by somebody else. As a content creator, we are not compensating them. So one challenge which I also see that is going to go through the industry is the IP laws, which should be kicking in. The infrastructure requirement, whether it is DeepSeek, whether it is O1, any other model that you use, they are very infrastructure intensive. We need electricity, we need so much more of computing power. So there is an opportunity on that sector, but again there is a challenge where a lot of investment needs to go through. The last but the most important part is while these tools bring in a lot of power in our hands, to my team, to everybody's team, there are people with malicious intent also has similar access, and they are more motivated than probably all of us sitting here how to go ahead and use that. There is a bigger surface area where they can attack, because now there is no human intervention in most cases, maybe except for some principal sitting inside the room and directing what needs to be done. So those are all challenges which we should address, but what I feel is moving forward, one of the key skills that all of us should learn is ability to define the problem correctly.
Makes sense. Thanks, Ritesh. As a techie, I can talk about this for hours, but in the interest of time, I'll give last question to Ashwani, and we'll end this with a holistic question that I would like you to address, and then probably if we have time, we'll open it for audience question. So in general, in holistic approach, what do you see, what are the advantages of using or leveraging these tools, irrespective of the sectors and departments, companies, and what are the disadvantages of it?
Well, there are a lot of advantages, and disadvantages comes from the limitation that we still face as far as AI is concerned. So I'll start with advantages first. The good part is there is direct impact on productivity.
Correct.
If you are using the technology in the right way, and if you could automate your workflow with the multi-agent LLMs or with any single LLM agent, it itself would give you a lot of comfort, especially with tasks which are repetitive in nature. Right? You could code faster now.
Correct.
Because most of the code can be generated by LLM. Only thing you have to be careful is providing the prompt to the system. Right? Prompt engineering itself is I would say is a skilled job. I mean, if you give LLM to a knife, LLM itself is knife. A knife person operating a knife AI would give you,
knife
imagine what all. Right. So there is definitely a lot of advantages in terms of productivity, but the disadvantages are basically come from the malicious use of the technology. We still do not have enough guardrails and shield to protect this naive technology. So the worst part about LLM is it does not understand the semantic level security yet. Semantic level security means so our head is like LLM. It has a lot of knowledge and a lot of observation that we have stored in our brain. But when we talk, when we converse, we only pass on the relevant information to a person. Sometimes when we meet friends, we use certain words, but we don't use those words in front of our kids, right? Because we have a semantic level security in our brain. Right? That security has to be coded in form of another model or another software to protect these naive nature of the LLMs. Right? Until unless we have that, we could not completely rely on this technology. Right? This would take some time to get there to build this semantic level security. And also, apart from that, we have to have some level of data governance included in the model itself. Data governance means that if you want to basically stop an LLM providing a particular sort of a knowledge to a person, then LLM should understand that context and the intent of the user as well, right? So right now we are still struggling with the intent and the context about the user who is interacting with the system. So we have to build that capability in our LLM in the AI system, so that LLM can only give the safe, unbiased, and answers which are explainable in nature.
Well described. Thanks, Ashwani. We'll probably take one question from audience. If anyone have question, otherwise we can conclude. Yes, please.
Can you hear me? Thank you. That was an absolutely fascinating discussion. I have a question, and I think it may relate a little bit to Ashwani's last point. With all the potential for generative AI and its prevalence out there, are there any applications where you think we could not or should not apply generative AI, either for practical reasons, where perhaps we should always rely on standard computational tools and human creativity, or maybe for ethical reasons?
Very brief answer, if you can answer that question in very brief, in few lines, that'll be good.
Sorry, if you could repeat that question.
Yeah, are there any areas where it would not be appropriate to use generative AI?
Oh, it would not be appropriate to use. I saw a circular I think it was in Ministry of Finance, and they said, government has said that, okay, you are not supposed to use LLMs for drafting, let's say, a budget or financials for the government. I think that's clearly a valid argument. There are certain, I usually discourage students specifically to use LLMs because it's easier to get answer from LLM while applying your own, reasoning capabilities. So if you use it to learn something, probably you'll not be able to develop your own reasoning capabilities so well. So we have to be a little careful while using it in education or in maybe by government.
Cool. Last question.
Hello?
Yeah.
Great. So I work in the entertainment industry and I'm a producer. So a lot of my artists are extremely worried about the fact that the creative side of their job is so they're extremely worried that the creative is slowly slipping away from their hands. So how we as AI industry, as a collective group, can ensure that some ethical practices are put in place. For example, like hacking as well. We have ethical and unethical hacking. So for AI as well, do you see that in the future we'll have some type of regulation in place?
Yep.
Yeah, I think for sure that should happen. While I'm slightly of a contrarian opinion that creativity or creative folks should be scared of generative AI, because even if you take the best of the tools, they are more like adding to your resource pool to create something really awesome. But I think that creative spark is something that is very, very human in nature. Just outside, I was having a chat with him that, one of the folks that all of us know is a guy called Tanmay Bhatt. He does really good creative copy for a lot of brands in India. Can you create a generative AI that can write like Tanmay Bhatt? Maybe based on historical data, yes. But can you come up with new ideas that are like Tanmay Bhatt? I think that may be a little bit difficult to say at the moment. But having said that, definitely there needs to be some bit of regulation around how do you use applications, and drawing some boundaries between, just the creative aspects, etc. So closing with, AI is a tool that all of us should use to make ourselves better at work. Nobody's gonna get fired. You just have to maybe upskill yourself and be a little bit better, use this tool to your advantage.
All right, we'll take last comment from Gopi and then we'll come.
I'll add here, I'll look at it again in two parts. As a user of an artistic product or artistic expression. So I think the audience would agree with me, the originality we always enjoy. For example, hearing a Coldplay song or attending a concert, right? It's always the humans are all about experience. So we like the originals and the real. But as my panelist just rightly mentioned, that it adds on your efficiency. Now, when we look at, certain, again, law point of view, that we have a Geographical Indication Act in India to promote the original artisan products. For example, if I talk about Rajkot na Patora, that's a sari. Then the Patan na Patora, there's another sari. Or then can be, other food products like Darjeeling tea, etc. So these are all original products, maybe artisan products or the agriculture product from that region. And we still appreciate. So I think human wouldn't stop appreciating the original and the fresh ideas as well as products. So I think the artisan should not be, or the art industry should not be afraid of. That's my viewpoint.
I hope that addresses your question. All right, with that, we'll conclude this panel, and thank you so much to be here and being part of this panel. Huge round of applause for our panel. And thank you so much.